So my name's Amanda. I've been vegan for almost 7 years, and this is everything I ate this week. Beautiful friends, welcome back to another video. I hope you've all been keeping very well. I'm so excited to finally be back with another what I eat in a week video this week. I hope you really enjoy it and it gives you some meal inspiration. As always, don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions in the comments below or if you have any video requests as well. But for now, that's enough of me. Let's get into the food. And this week, well, it's a little bit of a weird what I eat in a week because we're actually starting on a Friday morning. So on Friday morning, I woke up early and I went to my favorite bakery here on the Gold Coast and got a fresh loaf of sourdough bread. There is seriously nothing better than a fresh loaf of sourdough in my opinion, and I have a habit and I guess ritual of always eating the end with some vegan butter and Vegemite before I get into my actual meal. Then I just toasted one piece and I sliced up half of an avocado and then mashed this on top of my toast. I also then squeezed some lemon on top. I have been loving this vegan feta by the Vegan Dairy, so I also put some of this on top as well as some salt and pepper. Then I moved on to lunch and I decided to use some of these falafel bites that I had in the fridge to make some pita pockets. These are really good store-bought falafel. I definitely recommend them. To put in these pita pockets I sliced up some cucumber as well as some cherry tomatoes, and then I also sliced up some cos lettuce. So this pita pocket was so fluffy and delicious. I put some hummus in, followed by my lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumber, a couple of falafel balls, and then I also decided to drizzle some tahini on top. I love tahini so very much, and this was a really delicious lunch. It was also Kara's birthday this week, so on Friday night we went out for dinner and drinks with our friends to a really great Mexican restaurant. We did a banquet, so I had some cocktails. I also had some guacamole with corn chips. We had this amazing corn, which is just the best thing ever. We also got a mini vegan nachos each, which was super delicious, a little bit spicy for me, but isn't most things really. I also had some pumpkin tostadas, which were so amazing. As well as that, we then had these crispy cauliflower wings, which are just so good. Look how beautiful the birthday girl is though. Unreal. And then we had a cauliflower and quinoa salad followed by a crispy cauliflower taco. It was incredible. On Saturday morning, we woke up to a rainy morning and it was super gloomy in my apartment, so please excuse that. I decided to start the day with an iced cacao, of course. I don't know why, but the gloomy weather makes me feel like an iced cacao more than a hot cacao, and yeah, this was really great. So I started the day with this. And then after that, I was like, okay, I need a little something savory. So I decided to make some Vegemite on toast. I love Vegemite so very much. I love sourdough so very much. This was a great combination for my gloomy morning breakfast. So I toasted that up, put some vegan butter on as well as some Vegemite, and that was my breakfast on Saturday. When it came to lunchtime, I started by roasting some cauliflower as well as some chickpeas in the oven for about like 20 to 30 minutes. Then into a bowl I put some lettuce as well as the cauliflower and chickpeas that I'd roasted, some sliced almonds, avocado, and some parsley as well. I tossed this together, added in some lemon juice as well, and then I poured this into a bowl, and this was a very quick and easy salad that I enjoyed very much so for lunch. After this, on Saturday night, I had a night in watching Inventing Anna, and I ordered myself a vegan margarita pizza. It was divine. There's nothing like pizza in front of the TV on a Saturday night, honestly. Okay, now we're moving on to Sunday morning, and it was a lazy Sunday, which I really enjoyed. Eva and I were just completely relaxing in the morning, which was a lovely start to the day. Then when it came to making breakfast, I fried up some chickpeas in a little bit of olive oil over medium to high heat. From there, I then also added in some salt as well as some pepper and some garlic powder as well as nutritional yeast to add a little bit more flavor. I fried this up for like 5 minutes or so, and then I got 1 piece of thick cut sourdough. I spread on some vegan pesto. Then I put on top my crispy chickpeas that I had just made, and then I also topped with some cherry tomatoes as well as that vegan feta that I have been really loving so very much. I also topped it with some chives, and this was a really delicious and hearty breakfast to start the day. Okay, after this, it was time for lunch. I was making lunch for Cara and I, so I fried up some tempeh for me, tofu for her, and then made some rice paper rolls. So in mine, I have tempeh as well as spring onion, cucumber, coriander and avocado. I rolled all of these up and I had 3. I also made a peanut butter dipping sauce, which I love so much, and this was a really nourishing and fresh lunch. I've been obsessed with these chocolate silky pots lately, which is kind of like a cold chocolate pudding situation, and they are so delicious. So as a snack in the afternoon, I had this with some fresh strawberries and it was incredible. When it came to Sunday night, I was in the mood for something hearty, so I made curry for Cara and I. Into a saucepan, I put some onion as well as curry paste and oil, and I fried this up together. After that, I then added in some potatoes, which I had peeled and chopped, and I continued frying for a little while. After that, I then added in some coconut cream. I added a whole can of coconut cream, and then I filled the can up again with water, and then I continued mixing this and getting the potato nice and well cooked. Once the potato got relatively soft, I added in some green beans as well as green peas and chickpeas, and I continued cooking this over the heat. I also would have added some salt, which I didn't add, and I definitely would next time, and I topped it with some coriander and lime. It was a really hearty end to a Sunday. When it came to Monday morning, I was in the mood for baked oats because I love baked oats so much at the moment. So I made my baked oats mixture. I then put in some of these chocolate baking buttons, which are so good, and then topped it with a few extra before putting it in the oven to bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. Once it was all done, it was nice and golden on top. I then topped it with some of this So Delicious yogurt that I have been loving. I also put some strawberries on top, and this was a really sweet, hearty, decadent start to the day. It was a pretty good way to start a Monday, to be honest. So then when it came to lunch, I started with some rice wine vinegar as well as some sesame oil and miso paste into a bowl, and I mixed this together. Then I added in some pumpkin that I had chopped up, and I tossed this in the mixture that I had pre-prepared. This is a really delicious and easy flavoring to add to your pumpkin. I put this in the oven to roast for half an hour. Then I made a salad with some rocket lettuce, the pumpkin, as well as some of this vegan feta that I'm clearly loving so much this week. I also added some spring onion as well as some lemon juice, and then I tossed this all together. And yeah, this was a really delicious lunch. I enjoyed it very much so. For dinner on Monday night, I was in a bit of a rush, so I decided to make this tomato pasta that I have been loving. I started with some cherry tomatoes, onion, garlic powder, and olive oil with pepper into a frying pan, and I fried this up. Then I added in some water and put a lid on top so that the tomatoes got nice and soft and they soaked up all that flavor. I then also added in sun-dried tomatoes and continued cooking this well. Then I added in a mixture of tomato paste and water that I had mixed together. I added this in to the pan and kept stirring away whilst my gnocchi cooked as well, because I decided to have this pasta sauce with gnocchi. So I added this in. I continued tossing this all together. If you wanted some extra flavor for something like this, you could add a veggie stock cube. I think this is so delicious and so easy. On Tuesday morning, I started my day with a breakfast I've been loving so much. I put some chickpeas, tinned tomatoes, barbecue sauce, nutritional yeast, smoked paprika, as well as salt into a bowl, and I mix it together well. Then I transfer it into an oven safe bowl or a baking dish if you have one, and top it with vegan cheese. Once I've topped it with vegan cheese, I then place it in the oven to bake, and whilst it's baking, I toast some bread and top it with vegan butter. And this is a really delicious, like, dippy chickpea breakfast thing. A snack I've been obsessed with lately is these date Snickers, which is basically a medjool date, which is filled with peanut butter, coated in dark chocolate, and then topped with some sea salt. I will link below a recipe to make these if you're interested in trying them out at home. I really enjoy this, and it's just like a nice sweet treat to have in the fridge. So I've been making it to enjoy throughout the week, and I have been enjoying them very much so. I like to top them with sea salt because I love salt and chocolate together, but I just put these in the fridge to set. Then when it came to lunchtime, I decided to make something I've been loving so much lately. So I added in some red capsicum, corn, and broccoli with some oil into a frying pan, and then I made a tahini sauce with tahini, maple, and lemon juice, and mixed this together with a little bit of water so that it was nice and thin. From there, I am making a tahini stir fry. So I added in some cooked soba noodles into my vegetables, added in my tahini sauce, and then fried it up for less than a minute with the sauce so that it all combined well but didn't cook that tahini too much, and this was a delicious lunch. Okay, moving on to dinner, I started by frying some red capsicum, onion, and corn, and then I added in black beans, brown rice, as well as some Mexican spice mix. I fried this up for like 10 minutes before adding it to a bowl with some cooked tortilla chips that I had made. So I just cut up some tortillas. I then topped it with some guacamole as well as lime and coriander, and this is a really hearty and delicious dinner I have been absolutely loving lately. On Wednesday, I started my day by making some overnight oats. So I just put some oats and chia seeds as well as flax meal and some vanilla protein powder and then some hemp and oat milk into a bowl. I also added in some vanilla and hazelnut coconut yogurt for flavor and to add a nice texture to this. I mixed it together and then put it in the fridge. Once it had set for about half an hour, I topped it with banana, nectarine, and blackberries, and it was a very delicious breakfast. When it came to lunch, all I knew was that I was in the mood for sweet potato fries, so I made some sweet potato fries with some delicious seasoning and oil on. Whilst they were roasting, I also fried up some chickpeas, I boiled some broccolini, and then I also made a pearl couscous, which I ended up adding some sun-dried tomatoes to as well. So when it came to lunch, it was a very random lunch, but I mixed the chickpeas as well as sun-dried tomatoes with the pearl couscous, served this with some broccolini and my sweet potato fries on the side with tomato sauce. Random but delicious. Of course, at this point I had my date Snickers in the fridge, so I snacked on one of these in the afternoon, and then after that I went to our friend's house and she made this incredible tomato soup, which is just so delicious, and she served it with some toasties. These toasties had caramelized onion and vegan cheese in them, and it was just absolutely delicious. On Thursday morning, I woke up in the mood for a smoothie, so I made one with bananas as well as ice. Then I also added in some oat milk, followed by some chocolate protein powder, some cacao powder, and some almond butter. I'm loving almond butter so much at the moment. I put this all into my Vitamix and blended it all together and poured it into my smoothie tumbler, but then thought, you know what, I also would love something savory for breakfast this morning as well. So what I did is I toasted a piece of sourdough, topped it with some vegan butter, and then I had some leftover tomato baked chickpeas from the other day, and so I piled these on top. I also added on some vegan feta for some extra creaminess, and this was a delicious start to the day. Okay, so from there we are moving on to lunch, and recently we've been getting Marley Spoon. We've been really enjoying the convenience of it, and it is encouraging us to get more creative in the kitchen, which has been really great. So these were our meals for this week. I decided to have an ultimate vegan cheeseburger for lunch, and oh my goodness, this was incredible. So I had my burger, which I assembled with cheese and caramelized onion and mayo, my burger patty, as well as some sliced tomato. And then on the side, I had a green salad with a vinaigrette, which was incredible, as well as some homemade potato wedges, which were also amazing. For dinner, I then made a delicious pasta that I have been loving lately. So I start by frying up some olive oil and onion. Then I add in some cherry tomatoes, as well as some water and a veggie stock cube. I sizzle this away for a little while, add the lid on top so so that the tomatoes soften. And then from there we get into the creaminess. So I add in some soy milk and I mix this together well, soaking up all of that flavor. Then I also add in some nutritional yeast as well as a little bit of plain flour and whisk this together until it is nice and smooth. This is like a really simple, creamy, cheesy pasta that I just love so much at the moment. I added in some pasta and tossed this all together. Then I also like to add in some spinach for some extra greens right at the end so that it doesn't wilt away to completely nothing. You could also add some broccoli or something like that if you wanted to add some greens. And yeah, this was my dinner on Thursday night, which closes out the week. Alrighty, my beautiful friends, so that was everything that I ate in a week as a vegan. Really hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you're new here, first of all, welcome. Second of all, I would love if you would subscribe and join our beautiful community here on YouTube. As always, thank you for being here, for supporting me and my YouTube channel. Hope you have a really beautiful day and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!